Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to do my list of the Superman movies from worst to best. You know the drill. Worst starts first, and last will be the best. And yes, there are 10 Superman movies here. This is the first time I'm going to add one that I haven't added before because I always felt that it felt more like a TV pilot rather than an actual movie, but it is considered a theatrical film. And I thought to myself, since I have in the past counted the 1966 Batman movie with Adam West and Burt Ward on Batman movie lists, I should add this one to a Superman movie list as well. Now, if you've seen my Batman and Superman movie rankings, you'll probably have a good idea of what is worst and what is best. It's practically the same list as that, just without the Batman movies, and I'm adding one that I have never added before. Because I came to the realization that, well, if they considered it a movie, then I should count it as a movie. So let's get right into this. I'll tell you the movie when I get to it. It's not going to be first or second on this list. It's going to come at, well, when I get to it, I'll tell you. So starting at number 10, I have Supergirl. That's right. I consider Supergirl a Superman movie. It's related to the Superman characters. So to me, it counts as a Superman movie. It might not, until Supergirl gets like 2 or 3 films, it's going to stick under the Superman category. Until then, Supergirl is the worst on this list. It might be better than the next movie as in terms of how nicely made it is, if you want to call it nice. But it is a movie that's very boring. It's like I tell my brother, this movie is bad for all the wrong reasons. And, you know, I know it has a cult following behind it, but yeah, it's a Supergirl movie that they need to make a new... Well, the Supergirl TV series is actually better, more entertaining than this one, but... Helen Slater is great, but, you know, a decent performance can't save a movie all the time. So moving on to number 9, I have Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Now, this movie is also bad, but it's bad for all the right reasons, maybe. Just like Batman and Robin, this is a movie where I think it's so bad, it's hysterical at how bad it is. You have to laugh at it and have a good time with it. That's the way I look at it. There are so many things wrong with this movie in terms of special effects, in terms of editing, in terms of like there's one part where one character, Nuclear Man, goes up through a building and you can literally see the strings attached to the puppet grabbing the puppet up through the many floors. And sometimes I think it's even the same shot being shown as he's going through each level. But yeah, it's you know it's bad when the special effects of Lois and Superman flying together look worse in 1987 than it did in 1978. We're not supposed to go backwards, people. We're supposed to go forwards with groundbreaking effects. But this was one that even the cast members involved were kind of embarrassed about it. I remember a quote from Annette O'Toole from Superman 3. She played Lana Lang, and then she went on to play Martha Kent in Smallville. One of my favorite quote from her is from the Superman documentary. I forgot what it's called, Up, Up, and Away or something like that. Where she says that because she was a huge Superman fan, she knew about Superman 1 and Superman 2. Of course, she knew about Superman 3 because she was in there. But Superman 4, when asked about it, she was like, is there a Superman 4? And I just laughed. And it makes sense since this one was the one that killed the franchise at the time. Moving on to a movie that I have never put on this list before, any of these lists involving Superman movies, is Superman and the Moleman. This you can consider the very first Superman film maybe even the very first superhero film ever, because it was a theatrical released film. Some of you might be wondering, wait, David, how did you watch this movie? Like, what? Is this on Netflix or something? It might be on iTunes. I don't know about Netflix. Maybe on the DC. Oh no, that app doesn't exist anymore. Maybe HBO Max will have it. I have no idea. Superman and the Moleman is a movie I got to see when Warner Brothers re-released some of their movies on DVD in 2006 to tie in with Superman Returns at the time. Superman the movie from 1978, they had an extended cut. And as one of the special features, they added Superman and the Moleman as part of one of the special features to check out on the DVD. So I have seen this movie at least 2 or 3 times. I'm going to say 2. 2 times I've seen it. And it's one of those things that, it was a movie at the time. I'm sure it didn't do as great as they were hoping, but it was made by an independent studio. And look, I think it's worth checking out, especially if you are a fan of Superman. It's nothing wrong checking out the history of these characters, where they came from, how far back they went, and the kind of movies and shows that they appeared in. Superman and the Moleman stars George Reeves as Superman. And I'm going to say it feels more like a TV pilot than an actual movie, because this movie did come out before The Adventures of Superman, which starred George Reeves as Superman, the show that went on for 6 seasons and was a huge hit. I'm pretty sure this was the kind of like the pilot that got that series started. But yeah, it's not great, especially in today's standards, but look, it's nothing harmful on checking out. I think it's okay for what it is, if you view it as a television episode. So moving on to number 7, I have Superman 3. Now this one is the one that stars Christopher Reeve once again. Annette O'Toole is in this one as Lana Lang. She is the primary love interest in this one because Lois goes on vacation. And Richard Pryor is in this movie too. And look, I think I'm okay with this movie. A lot of people hate it. I think it's all right. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's great either, but I think it's a fun little guilty pleasure type of movie. I mean, I think a lot of people will take like the evil when Superman goes down a dark path and drunk Superman starts showing up. I think the Superman versus Clark Kent moment in the garbage dump scene is a memorable scene that a lot of people take from this movie. I always like to consider that scene is when Bizarro shows up, even though he's not really Bizarro. I like to think of it that way because it is Superman gone dark. And then when you see both him and Clark Kent fighting, it's like, yeah, you can consider that Bizarro if you want to stretch it a little bit. Look, I think it's an okay movie. I think, yeah, it's a little slapsticky, but if you don't mind that kind of comedy, I think it's all right. Some of the jokes made me laugh. I'm not ashamed to admit that. With that being said, it's not a perfect film, so let's move on to number 6. I have Justice League. Justice League, that's right, the Joss Whedon version that we are going to be getting a new version of very soon, which I'm sure that version will be higher on my list. But as of now, this Justice League movie is not that high. It's number 6. It's not a bad movie. I don't think it's not terrible, but it's not great either. It's very similar to Superman 3 for me, where it's an okay movie. And a Justice League movie, especially the first one, should not have been an okay movie. It should have been a much better movie than that. Unfortunately for Superman fans, Superman doesn't really play a big role in this one. He shows up like towards the end of the film. But that's fine, whatever. I mean, and they ruined him too by adding a fake facelift on him that looked terrible. So Henry Cavill, what the hell, man? You should be with Ray Fisher complaining about the Joss Whedon movie with him and everybody else. So with that being said, I could see Joss Whedon being an asshole now to Henry Cavill, being like, "We're gonna ruin your face," and Cavill's just taking it. It's like terrible, man. Moving on to number 5, I have the original 1978 Superman movie starring Christopher Reeve. Yes, this one is a classic. It's enjoyable. It's charming. But yes, there are some things that are a little outdated with this movie. But I think Christopher Reeve is terrific. If there's anything even about like Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, and Superman 3, I think even those ones, the saving grace of them all is Christopher Reeve and his portrayal as the character of Superman. And I think for an old school Superman, but kind of keeping it somewhat modern, I think Christopher Reeve does a great job, especially in this one and in my number 4 favorite Superman movie, Superman 2. I think Superman 2 is the best of the Christopher Reeve era. Definitely raising up the challenge a lot more. It's not just the love story. The love story still continues from the first Superman movie, but brings in villains that are probably a little bit more of a physical challenge to Superman, which was more fun to watch. And even though that physical challenge comes more later towards the end of the film, I still think the mental challenge with Lois is still a great story to be seen. I will say, though, I do like the Donner cut a little bit more than the theatrical cut, because I do think the Marlon Brando scenes in the Donner cut do add a little bit more weight. If you watch the theatrical cut, Marlon Brando is not in that version. He's only in the Donner cut. All his scenes were cut out of the theatrical cut at the time. And in 2006, they did release a Donner cut, just like the Snyder cut of Justice League. Richard Donner got to do his own vision, although he did need some help here and there with certain things because he didn't actually get to complete his entire version. But what they were able to do, I thought turned out pretty good. There is one scene where they do use when they rehearse. It's not rehearsing. It's one of those scenes where they test screen. They use some test screen footage of Superman and Lois, and it's a little obvious that it is because the hairstyle on both of them is different. Margot Kidder does look a little bit younger than she actually does in both of the first 2 Superman movies. But when you understand that they had to use that test screen footage for a certain scene in the movie, and if you're able to accept that, then you might enjoy the movie. I think you might enjoy the movie. So I would recommend the Donner cut of Superman 2. Just slightly better than the theatrical version, but I think both versions are pretty good. So moving on to my 3rd favorite Superman movie, I'm going to say Superman Returns. I really love Superman Returns. I just watched it again last night because I'm having a Superman marathon before the TV series Superman and Lois comes out. And Brendan Routh is a great Superman. I don't think he's as great as Christopher Reeve, but I think for what he was able to do at the time, if he was picking up the mantle from Christopher Reeve and playing it in a more modern setting, I think Brendan Routh did a great job. I am one of the few people that will say I like Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane. I thought she was pretty good. Kevin Spacey, look, at least he's playing the villain, so he's an asshole in the movie, and he's probably an asshole in real life. Who knows? Look, I know this movie is directed by Bryan Singer, who is a terrible person right now, but I can separate my feelings of the great thing about having someone direct is that they're behind the camera and you don't have to see their faces. I'm not going to hold a film responsible on entirely one. I'm not going to punish a movie for just one person, or in this case 2, because if the things are true about Kevin Spacey, then there's 2 people to be concerned about. But again, he's playing a bad guy, so it doesn't really matter. To me, Brendan Routh is the one that carries this movie. I think James Marsden is pretty good too. He's playing the all-American Boy Scout kind of guy. But then again, Superman is also a Boy Scout. But I do like the story of Superman leaving for a couple of years and then coming back and his world is flipped upside down and the girl that he loves has left him. I do like the way Superman is brought back into the world, and I do like how the world embraces him except for that one person. But she slowly starts to accept him back. once she realizes and remembers, oh yeah, this is the warmth guy that I used to love, and then her realizing maybe some of the mistakes that she did along the way. Yeah, I Superman Returns. I know at the time it got a lot of hate for some reason, because it was too much of a rehash, some people said, or some people thought it was too boring. I think it's a really good movie, and I think people should go back and give it another go. I just watched it. I own the movie on Blu-ray, but I also watched it on Netflix last night, and I still think it's a good movie, a good Superman movie. It might not be the best thing you'll ever see, and if you prefer action, then you'll definitely be bored with it because there's not much action in it. I prefer it more for the story. I really do like the story. Is it a rehash of the original Superman movie? I don't think so. I think it's more of a tribute to the original Superman movie. But that's also because Bryan Singer has admittedly said that he is a huge fan of that original film. So it is what it is, and let's move on, guys. At number 2, I have Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. This is going to be probably a little controversial because I know Batman v Superman is split with a lot of people. It's very dark, it's very gritty, but you know what? I like it. I'm going to admit it. I think it's a really cool, badass film. I think Batman needs to be dark, so that says that. And I like seeing Superman in a more realistic setting. I think it gives him a little bit more challenges to deal with. Like, man, how do I deal with these people? Some people don't like me. Some people do like me. It's like, what do I do with all these powers if people are going to be this controversial with everything? And then you have Batman, who's also controversial, who like hates Superman for what he did in Metropolis. And, it's like no winning for that. You kind of feel bad for Superman in this movie. I will say, even though I do like both the theatrical cut and the extended cut, I do recommend the extended cut because I think they do give a lot more justice to Superman in that movie. Henry Cavill is awesome, man, and Ben Affleck is just badass as Batman. And it's the only time I think it's Ben Affleck's best performance as Batman. I can't wait to see him in the Snyder Cut again to see what was cut out, that the Whedon verse or the Whedon version changed on us, because this was the Batman that I loved seeing Ben Affleck play, and I can't wait to see that vision again with Zack Snyder doing his Snyder Cut. So finally, my favorite Superman movie of all time is Man of Steel. Yes, the movie that focuses on him the most and gives him, because I love Superman and I think this was a great retelling of the origin. I remember when Man of Steel was coming out at the time, I was one of the people that really wanted a sequel to Superman Returns. And when I heard that they were going back to the drawing board and giving us the origin again, I was like, guys, we don't really need the origin again. But then when I saw how different this version was, I really embraced it. And I truly, to this day, think it's the best Superman movie. And the second best or third best DC movie of all time for me. I put it right behind The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises as my all-time favorite DC film. I think Henry Cavill being introduced in this movie to the world was a fantastic choice at playing this character. It was interesting to hear that he almost played Superman in Superman Returns, because now knowing that, I mean, it could have been awesome seeing him earlier on, but I think everything works out for the best. I think he is the best actor to portray Superman. I shouldn't have said that because I'm planning on doing a video of my favorite Superman performances. But, and General Zod, man, Zod, played by Michael Shannon in this movie, such a great adversary to have in this movie, man. Zod, he kills it as Zod in this movie. Probably the best DCEU villain in the DCEU so far. And there's been some newer villains that have come up recently that have been pretty good too. I do really like Mark Strong in the Shazam movie, and I think Ewan McGregor was great in Birds of Prey. I think Jared Leto needed more time to shine to really see what he could have done. Maybe this Zack Snyder version will show us that. But for this movie, I think Michael Shannon was like outstanding as General Zod. I think he even went I prefer him better than Terrence Stamp easily. With Henry Cavill and Christopher Reeve, it's a little bit different because Christopher Reeve was great during the time he played it in. I think Henry Cavill is the best modern day Superman. So with that being said, guys, I really hope you guys like this video. Please share down your rankings of all the Superman movies that you've seen throughout the years. Maybe you haven't seen all of them, but that's fine. With that being said, guys, until next time, take care.